Right, the last two steps of the Jibility 6 steps are initiatives and roadmap. If you think about challenges and objectives, that was about understanding why. Capabilities and course of actions is about analyzing the what, and initiatives and roadmap, well, that's about visualizing the how. So if you look here on the initiatives step, on the left-hand side, we can see that we had identified the capabilities and created for each one of the capabilities a list of courses of action. Here, if I scroll down the list of the capabilities and corresponding courses of action, I will see from the last exercise, we created some course of action for a capability called leadership development. And you can see that these courses of actions here are shown in that bright pink color, and these other ones are gray. And the reason why these are gray is because they've already been allocated to an initiative. And for this exercise, what I'm going to do is create a couple of initiatives to show you how we do that. And we create our first initiative by simply dragging new initiative onto my canvas, and we give this a name. And for this, I'm just going to say this is about leadership development definition. Here, I'm going to drag a few of these courses of action to there. I'm going to actually put this course of action, which is the point a champion for leadership, and also the defined training program into this same initiative. So what I'm doing here is defining a package of work, which is comprised of these two courses of action. And this package of work is what we call an initiative. And let's create another initiative, and let's call this one implement leadership development platform implementation, and let's drag that implement platform here as a course of action for this initiative. And one thing that you can also see here in the properties, the Jibility implements a tagging feature which allows you to tag each initiative with a label. This is really useful because when you have lots of initiative on your page, as we have here in this example, you'll find that it can get a little bit difficult to manage. And what I recommend you do is to tag your initiatives so that you can apply a filter, which is this thing here, and so that you can see all the particular initiatives that's relevant for what you're working on. And for this, what we're going to do is we're going to tag this against a new label called people. I'm going to do the same over here for this one. You'll notice that once you've defined one, you can just simply click and select them. So labels are useful to represent, well, your strategic themes if you want, or a functional name of an area where this initiative is applicable to, a discipline area within your organization. It's up to you what you want to call these labels. Now that we have our initiatives defined, we are going to click on this prioritize initiatives. And it's important to do this because in most strategy roadmaps, you're bound to have quite a number of initiatives. You need to determine which ones are the ones that you need to implement. More importantly, based on this assessment against value and risk or effort. And the way we do this here is that we click on our initiative and we drag that to our canvas. And of course, we already have a number of different initiatives represented here on my 2x2 matrix, which is value against risk. In Jibility, we're asking you to do a relativity comparison. So when you're dragging this new initiative onto the canvas, then relative to the other initiatives on the canvas already, is this new initiative a higher value than the other ones on the canvas or lower value? Is it a higher risk and effort or lower risk and effort? So in this case here, defining the leadership program is probably a relatively low risk effort. In terms of value, well, it's a reasonable value. So I think it's personally sitting somewhere around here. And of course, the important thing is really which quadrant does it sit in, and its absolute position is probably less important right now. The beauty of this 2x2 is that you can use this and work with your stakeholders. It's very quick for you to start to build consensus within the group as to where does each initiative sit relative to each other. I'm going to do the same with this one here. I'm going to put this on here. In terms of value, it's still reasonable value because important part of any program is to have a very strong leadership capability in the organization. In this case here, the effort of implementing a platform is a little bit higher in terms of risk and effort than, say, defining the training program. So I'll just say it's relatively about here. So here we go. We've got a list of initiatives here that we've prioritized relative to each other. And you'll notice that here on the bottom, we have the estimated cost for all my initiatives. So that this number here represents what's the total value or total cost of all the initiatives that I have on my 2x2. I have this lasso here, which allows you to identify very quickly which are the ones that are marked as a priority that we need to implement on our roadmap. So let's say you said that we had a budget of $5 million. So clearly, currently, the total number of initiatives that's a priority is $6.5 million, which means that we a bit over budget. And Jibility allows you to move this lasso to close in and select the ones that will then be estimated to be roughly about $5 million. And you can see that as I move this lasso in, get to closer and closer towards our $5 million mark, and we'll then end up determining, well, what can we implement for $5 million? Let's have a look. So this is about $4.6 million, and let's pull it out a little bit, and it's 4.8, and this is about 5.7. So somewhere around here is about all we can deliver for $5 million. And the way that we should look at this 2x2 is that this top right corner represents the area where the initiatives would deliver the highest value, the lowest risk and effort. And clearly this is what you want to deliver first. And in some ways you want to deliver the initiatives that's spanning out from this right-hand corner at the top in a form of an arc like this, and deliver them in this particular sequence. You also notice that there's a few initiatives here that's highlighted in this filled in orangey brown color. And what this is indicating here, as you can see in the legend, is that these initiatives are also selected as a priority for implementation, whereas these ones with a half dot filled in, they indicate that they're on the canvas, but they're actually not a priority. So what invariably happens is that you'll have a stakeholder that may say, look, this one here, I know that it's not in the priority at the moment, but I believe that it has tremendous value potential for the organization, even though that it is high risk. But I think if we pull that rabbit out of the hat, it'll be delivering a great opportunity for the organization. And what you can do in Jibility is that select the properties for that selected initiative, and look at the bottom here, you've got this priority zone selection. The default for these initiatives is automatic selection as priority based on the lasso. You can also include them manually by saying include, and you see visually that's now selected. And you'll also see the total cost is now bumped up to $5.045 million. This is great because this is a conversation you can have with your stakeholders to say, we've included that, but now we just nudged it slightly higher than $5 million. You okay with that? Or do we need to do a trade-off conversation to say, well, do we need to drop something else out? And again, you can do that by selecting a initiative in here, and you might decide that actually this one here, what we're going to do is we're going to manually exclude this as priority, even though it's in the lasso. And we've just dropped it down again now to 4.944 million. So just snugly under the 5 million budget that we said earlier. There you go. We've now prioritized our initiatives, and these are the ones that we should be implementing first.